Good morning, dear students. Last class we studied about bond enthalpy, entropy, or the spontaneous process and non-spontaneous process. And again, we have also studied what are the criteria for the spontaneity of a process. Now there are some examples. In which cases, so you have to decide in which cases there is increase in entropy. What is the sign of entropy change? So predict the sign of entropy change for each of the following changes. Given mercury liquid to mercury gas. So as the phase changes from liquid to gas, its entropy increases. So in this case, del S value that is positive. Similarly, AgNO3 solid is converted to AgNO3 aqueous. AgNO3 aqueous means it gives Ag plus and NO3 minus. So one particle converted to two parts. In this case also entropy increases. So the entropy increases, the del S value that is positive. Okay, so the del S value that is positive. So del S here positive and here also positive. Next, I2 gas to I2 solid. So gases are more random than that of the solid. In solid, the arrangement is more orderly arranged. So in this way, I2 gas to I2 solid, in this case, the entropy change is negative. Okay. Next, Cr3 plus 6H2O to CrH2O3 plus. So in this case, what happens? So 2, 1 and 6, that is the 7 molecule or 7 particles converted into one particle, which forms a complex. So as the number of particles increases means entropy increases, number of particles decreases means entropy decreases. So when the number of particles decreases, in this way entropy that is decreases. As the entropy decreases, S final minus S initial that is negative. So in this way D is negative. Okay. Next 6CO gas, 6H2O liquid, 6H2O6 and 6O2 is given. Look here. So in this case 6 plus 6 12 particles, but 1 and 2. 7, 6 and 1, that is 7 particles. Here 12 particles and here 7 particles. Another thing, this is in gaseous form, liquid form, and this is in solid form and gaseous form. So gas is there and another is liquid, here this is solid. In this case, solid means more orderly arranged. So this is more orderly arranged. So this entropy here decreases, randomness decreases. As the randomness decreases, here del S value that is negative. Final minus initial. 2 NaSO3 solid converted to Na2CO3 solid, carbon dioxide gas and H2O gas. So 2 gases and 1 solid is there, and 2 parts of or 2 moles of, you can say, sodium bicarbonate in solid form. As solid is converted to solid gas decomposition, and this decomposition also takes place when applied of heat. In this, with increase in temperature also the entropy increases. So here also, so in this case the entropy increases. As the entropy increases, S final minus S initial, that will become positive. So in this case, the del S value is positive. And again, H2 gas to 2H gas. So one particle converted into 2 atoms. So this is more stable form, this is the unstable form. So in this way, here more randomness, and the randomness is more. So del S value that is positive. So you have to think in which case the randomness increases, then you have to find out the del S value. Now next come to what is the second law of thermodynamics. So actually the second law of thermodynamics that deals with the spontaneity of a process. So for the spontaneity of the process, from this entropy change, what we conclude? From this entropy change, we conclude that to a system to be spontaneous, there should be increase in entropy. And all natural processes are spontaneous processes. Okay, so there are different forms of the second law of thermodynamics, different statements for the second law of thermodynamics. For example, all spontaneous processes or natural occurring processes are irreversible in nature. Okay, so these are irreversible in nature. Without the help of external agency, a spontaneous process can be reversed. Okay, so actually that deals with this entropy system, the system. And another thing, in an isolated system, for a system to be spontaneous, then the change in entropy that should be positive, del S should be positive. And for a non-isolated system, or in which cases the mass and energy exchange can take place. So in a non-isolated system, the entropy of the universe is considered, the entropy of the universe that should increase. That means del S universe that is greater than 0, or del S universe that is equal to del S system plus del S surrounding. So del S system plus del S surrounding, and this should be greater than 0. For non-isolated system, the total entropy of the universe that should always increasing, because in the universe all natural processes are generally irreversible in nature, and all irreversible processes are generally spontaneous in nature. So in this way, the spontaneous in nature, so the delta universe is always in increasing. So these are the different forms of different statements of second law of thermodynamics. Now note down what are the different forms of second law of thermodynamics. So the second law of thermodynamics stated in a number of ways. All spontaneous processes or naturally occurring processes are thermodynamically irreversible. The second law depends on related to the spontaneity of the process. Okay, so without the help of external agency, a spontaneous process cannot be reversed. So water flows from high level to low level, but when it flows from low level to high level in different in low level to high level, then it requires some energy. Similarly, the entropy of an isolated system must increase if it is to be spontaneous in a particular direction. That is delta system that should be greater than 0. So if there is increase in entropy, then the process is spontaneous. Okay. So in a non-isolated system, the total entropy of the system and the surroundings must increase or positive. That is delta system, delta surrounding greater than 0. That must be positive. So system and surrounding, that is called the universe. So in this universe, the total entropy of the universe must tend to increase in a spontaneous process. So in all part we know from that, for a spontaneous process, there should increase in entropy. Okay. So from this, with the increase in entropy, the process becomes spontaneous. And again we know that is the with decrease in enthalpy, the process becomes spontaneous. Okay, so in this way, the combined of the first law of thermodynamics and the second law of thermodynamics combinedly, they can be stated as the energy of the universe is conserved. Do you know that is the first law of thermodynamics, that is called the energy of the universe is conserved. No change in energy, one form of energy can be changed to another energy, but entropy should increase. Okay, so the energy of the universe is conserved, whereas entropy increases in a naturally occurring spontaneous process. Okay, so here what we know. So from this we know, for the process to be spontaneous, thermodynamically spontaneous, there are two terms. One term is enthalpy, another term is known as entropy. So with increase in entropy, a process becomes spontaneous. Similarly, with decrease in enthalpy, a process becomes spontaneous. So these are the two factors. One is enthalpy factor, another is known as the entropy factor. So with increase in entropy, the process becomes spontaneous, then it is positive, and another with decrease in enthalpy, the process becomes spontaneous. So when we consider about both the terms, the function of both enthalpy and entropy, then the combined of this enthalpy and entropy, a new term. There are two terms, one is enthalpy and entropy. So the combined effect of both this enthalpy and entropy, a new term arises that is known as free energy, which is the function of both this enthalpy and entropy, which is helpful to determine the spontaneity of a process. So to determine the spontaneity of a process, another term is introduced that is known as the free energy. So what is the free energy? The free energy is the maximum energy available for a system to do useful work. That is known as free energy, and it is represented by letter G. That is equal to H minus Ts. So G is a function of enthalpy and entropy. So first, enthalpy determines the spontaneity. But this is not always true. The del H is negative. This is not always true that this process is spontaneous. Similarly, with increase in entropy, the process becomes spontaneous. This is also not true for all cases. There are some other cases where del H is negative, and the process can become spontaneous. So in this way, the summarize. So generally, another fundamental term arises, that is the function of both this enthalpy and entropy, which determine the spontaneity of a process. That is known as your free energy. So G is equal to H minus Ts. And like other enthalpy and internal energy, this is also a state function. And so the change in as the state function is also extensive property, and the change in free energy can be determined by subtracting the final free energy state minus the initial free energy state. Suppose a system with free energy G1 and final Vt changes to final free energy state G2, and G1 is related with H and S at constant temperature, then G1 is equal to H minus Ts1, and similarly G2 is equal to H minus Ts2. Now change in free energy, G2 minus G1 is H2 minus Ts2 minus H1 minus Ts1. Okay, so the maximum energy that is used for the maximum energy available for doing useful work, that is known as the free energy. The maximum energy available for a system to do useful work, that is known as free energy, and this is termed as free energy. So whenever there is some internal energy change, the internal energy, that the first one is what? U del U is equal to Q plus W. So suppose Q, some amount of heat is absorbed, that also changes the internal energy and does some work. This work is the work of expansion. Now this work of expansion, so all the heat what is absorbed, that is all the heat cannot be converted into internal energy. Or if all the internal energy change takes place, that is that directly cannot be converted into heat and work. Some other is there, other term is there. So this work is again of two types. One is natural expansion work, another non-expansion work. So that is a non-expansion work that is available, is known as your free energy. And this free energy, if this value is negative, then the process becomes spontaneous. If there is loss in more energy, then that is termed as your change in free energy, and that determines the spontaneity of the process. Okay, so let us discuss. So G2 minus G1, H2 minus TH2 minus H1 minus TS1. So in this way, H2 minus H1 and minus T taking common, H2 minus S1. That is equal to delta H minus T delta S. So delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. This is known as the change in free energy, and this equation is known as Gibbs-Helmholtz equation. Okay, so first write down some points about free energy, then we will discuss some other course. So it is defined as the amount of energy available in the system during a process that can be converted to useful work under conditions of constant temperature and pressure. The constant temperature, so the heat change is H, heat is H, and at constant, and T and S is entropy change, entropy of the system is S. Mathematically, it can be represented as G is equal to H minus Ts, where H enthalpy or heat content at constant pressure and S entropy of the system, T absolute temperature, G free energy change. Let us suppose a system in its initial state, that is state 1, and another the changes to the final state, that is state 2 at constant temperature. So the free energy associated with this first state G1 and the second state, that is G2. So G1 is equal to H minus Ts1 and G2 is equal to H minus Ts2. So change in free energy del G is equal to G2 minus G1, H2 minus Ts2 minus H1 minus Ts1, that is H2 minus H1 minus T into H2 minus H1, that is del H minus T del S. Okay, and this equation is known as Gibbs-Helmholtz equation. So this equation is known as Gibbs-Helmholtz equation. So note down this. So look here, del G equal to del H minus T del S. So due to the free energy and the change in free energy, the change in free energy is more useful than that of the free energy. Okay. So del G is equal to del H minus T del S. So this equation is known as Gibbs-Helmholtz equation, where del G is the change in free energy, del H change in enthalpy, del S change in entropy, and T is the absolute temperature. So this del G determines the spontaneity of a process. So actually if this del G value negative, the process is spontaneous. If del G is positive, the process is non-spontaneous, and if del G is equal to 0, the process is in equilibrium. Okay, so like your free energy and internal energy, that's like your enthalpy and internal energy, this is a state function and an extensive property. And the unit of free energy is calorie, joule and kilojoule. Suppose we consider in for mole, then we can write also mole inverse. Okay, so these are the some basic idea about free energy. Now, the free energy determines the spontaneity of a process. So the equation is del G is equal to del H minus T del S. And we know that is the decrease in enthalpy. The decrease in enthalpy is the criteria for the spontaneity of the process, and increase in entropy is the criteria for the spontaneity of a process. Look here. So del G is equal to del H minus T del S. So if this value is negative and this value, if it is positive, the total and temperature is always positive. As temperature is always positive, T del S, this should be also positive. So negative minus the positive factor, so it will give you more negative. In this way, del G is negative when del X negative and del X is positive, and the process is spontaneous at any temperature. But when del H is positive, that means endothermic, and del S, if this is positive, if this is positive and this is positive, then this T del S value that should be higher, so that the addition of these two give a negative value. So in this way, this value opposes the spontaneity and this value supports the spontaneity. If del H is positive, if this value is positive and this value is positive, then the process will become spontaneous at high temperature. So that T del S value will become more positive, and this negative of this positive value and again becomes negative, so that all total it can become negative. Similarly, if this value is positive and this value is negative, so first negative, positive, then positive, 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 negative. This is positive and this will become negative. So whatever, then this term will become your positive, negative and negative will become positive, and this process will become non-spontaneous at any condition. So in this case, some factor opposes, some factor supports the spontaneity of the process, and resultant of the spontaneity depends on temperature. At what temperature this will become positive, and at which condition it will become negative. Now let us look at some criteria at which condition a process becomes spontaneous and which condition it becomes non-spontaneous, and what is the effect of temperature. So to become del G negative, not only the del H and del S, but also temperature is an important factor to become del G negative. Now look at some condition, the effect of temperature on the spontaneity of the process, a sign of del H, sign of del S, minus 20 in spontaneity. Suppose we have considered some exothermic reaction. So for exothermic reaction, del H is negative. Suppose this value is negative and this is positive, entropy change suppose positive, so it is negative, it is positive, and at any, if this is, then it is positive, negative is positive, at any temperature, the del G is negative, process is spontaneous. Okay. Similarly, if del H is negative and del S value is also negative, then there are two conditions. Look here, if this value should be, it is negative, negative, it's negative, negative, positive, if this value is high, this value should be low, so that our total del G becomes negative. So, and if this value is very high, then this should becomes less, if the total will become positive. So if the total, that means if the temperature is high, then this term, T del S term, that will become positive. Minus T del S term becomes positive. As minus T del S term becomes positive, del S value become positive. So in this way, if this is negative and this is negative, then the temperature if low, then it may be negative and the process is spontaneous. Similarly, for this negative, del S value negative and this value negative, if the temperature is high, if the temperature is high, T del S will become minus T del S will become positive. As minus T del S will become positive, the del G will become positive and the process is non-spontaneous. Non-spontaneous. Similarly, this is for exothermic. Now consider for endothermic. For endothermic, del H value is positive. If this is positive and this is also positive and the temperature is high, if the temperature is high, so this is positive and this term positive, this term positive, minus del S will become negative if the temperature becomes very high. So at high, it will become negative and the process is spontaneous. And if this is positive and this is also positive, but the temperature is low, then this term, the del H is greater than this, then it will become positive and it will become non-spontaneous. Non-spontaneous. Similarly, if this is positive and this is negative, at any temperature, the process will become positive and non-spontaneous. So these are the conditions for the spontaneity of a process. So note down these points. So the standard free energy change, that is represented as a standard free energy change, that is represented as del G naught is equal to del H naught minus T del S naught. But del G naught the standard free energy change, del S naught the standard free energy change, and del S the standard entropy change, whereas T, that is your 298 Kelvin. That is the standard condition. But the free energy change at standard condition is known as standard free energy change. That is at standard condition. So what is the standard condition? Already you know the standard condition is 1 atmospheric pressure and 298 Kelvin. 1 atmospheric pressure and 298 Kelvin. So this is known as the standard condition. So T is 298 Kelvin. Okay. So this is your standard free energy change. Next, this free energy change is also related with the equilibrium constant. Okay. Free energy change is related with the equilibrium constant. So free energy change and equilibrium constant. So in general, this del G is found to be del G naught plus RT natural logarithm Q, where Q represents Q, that is reaction quotient. So Q is reaction quotient. That is what is the concentration of product by concentration of the reactant. About this reaction quotient we will discuss in next class. That is next chapter. That is in equilibrium chapter. So reaction quotient, this is the ratio of concentration of product to the concentration of the reactants. This is the ratio of product of concentration of the products to the concentration of the reactants. This is your reaction quotient. So Q is known as a reaction quotient. But when at equilibrium, so what happens at equilibrium? Del G is equal to 0, then this reaction quotient Q will become equal to K, where K is known as equilibrium constant. Equilibrium constant. And what is this equilibrium constant? What is this reaction quotient? We will discuss in next chapter. So del G equal to 0 and Q is equal to 0. So substituting these values of del G and Q, reaction quotient, what we get? So this is equation 1. We get 0 is equal to del G naught, this is the standard condition, plus RT ln K, natural logarithm K, or del G naught is minus RT ln K, or that is equal to minus, or del G naught minus 2.303 RT log to the base 10 K. So this is the relationship between this equation is known as equation 2. This is the relation between standard free energy change and equilibrium constant. Standard free energy change and equilibrium constant. This is the relationship between standard free energy change and equilibrium constant. Okay, so this is some idea about free energy change and how it determines the spontaneity of a process. Next, come to third law of thermodynamics. After completion of free energy, next come to third law of thermodynamics. So according to this third law of thermodynamics, actually one application of, we can say this is the one type of application of entropy. So actually, so everything exists at a perfect crystalline state at 273 Kelvin at absolute zero. So we can say, so as it exists in the perfect crystalline state, its entropy is zero. So we can say the entropy of a perfect crystalline solid at absolute zero is zero. So the entropy of a perfect crystalline solid at absolute zero is equal to zero. So this is known as the third law of thermodynamics. Actually, this third law of thermodynamics helps to determine the absolute value of entropy. So first we have stated that the absolute value of entropy cannot be determined. But remember this, the absolute value of enthalpy and internal energy cannot be determined. But the absolute value of entropy can be determined, because the absolute value of entropy at absolute zero is equal to zero. So this is known as the third law of thermodynamics. Okay. So note down what is third law of thermodynamics. So next come to third law of thermodynamics. So according to third law of thermodynamics, the entropy of an ideal or perfect crystalline solid may be taken as zero at absolute zero. That means when temperature tends to zero, then entropy of the system is equal to zero. So actually at that case everything exists in a perfect crystalline state. So application, it has to determine the absolute entropies of various substances at room temperature. So what is the entropy at room temperature? What is the change in entropy? Actually what is the del S? That is the, this del S is Ht minus H0, and this H0 is absolute zero, and this entropy is equal to 0, then del S is equal to Ht. So what is the change in entropy? That is known as its absolute temperature. So absolute entropy, that is known as its absolute entropy. In this absolute entropy of a system can be determined, but can be determined. So it is important to note that the enthalpy or different energy terms, the absolute value cannot be determined, but for entropy, the absolute value can be determined. So note down these points. So with the completion of this third law, actually this thermodynamics chapter is completed. But here, now we are going to solve some problems relating to this entropy and the free energy change. Let us solve some problems regarding free energy and entropy. So first, last one. Calculate the entropy of vaporization for a liquid boiling at 300 Kelvin having enthalpy of vaporization 27 kilojoule mole inverse. So what is given? Del H. That is given 27 kilojoule mole inverse, or we can write 27,000 joule mole inverse, and given T, that is 300 Kelvin. And we know the entropy of vaporization, del S vaporization, we know it is del S vaporization del H vaporization divided by its boiling point T. So del H, that is the del H vaporization, liquid boiling at, so at boiling point calculate the enthalpy of the enthalpy of vaporization is given this much. So in this way, 27,000 divided by joule mole inverse divided by 300 Kelvin. So in this way, the answer is 90 joule Kelvin inverse mole inverse. So in this way, you can determine the entropy of vaporization. So question number 4 is over. Next come to question number 3. This is also a very simple question. Okay. So given, so you find the change in free energy of a reaction at 27 degrees Celsius if the enthalpy of the reaction is 50 kilojoule and entropy change is 340 joule Kelvin inverse. So find the change in free energy. So change in free energy means you have to write the equation del G is equal to del H minus T del H minus T del S. So del G is the change in free energy, del S the change in enthalpy, T the temperature, this is the change in entropy. So among the four terms, any three terms will be given to you and another term will be asked to you. Okay, so here del G is asked and these three terms are given. What is the temperature here given? 27 degrees Celsius. It is equal to 300 Kelvin. So R2 plus 273, it is equal to 300 Kelvin. So always put the temperature in Kelvin scale. It is 300 Kelvin. So del H, look here, this is given in kilojoule and this is given in joule. So in this way, so joule and joule Kelvin inverse and temperature is in Kelvin. So that this term is Kelvin inverse cancels. This term is also in energy term. T del S is energy term. So this term is energy term. This is also energy term. But the temperature, so here Kelvin inverse and here Kelvin, so total is the temperature term. But that is kilojoule and this is given joule. So in this way convert this either to the joule or convert it either to kilojoule. So let us see, it becomes easier if we convert it to joule. So del H, that is 50 kilojoule or 50,000 joule, and given del S, that is 340 joule Kelvin inverse. Now del G is equal to 50,000 minus 300 into 340 is joule. This is given in joule and this is in joule. 300 into 340. That is 50,000 joule minus 102,000 joule. Okay, so 1,02,000 joule and 50,000 joule. So this value is minus 52,000 joule or minus 52 kilojoule. And another question is given whether this process is spontaneous or feasible. In this type of question may appear whether this reaction is spontaneous, whether this is feasible. So if feasible or if this is spontaneous, then this del Z value that must be negative. So the del Z value must be negative. So as here we get the del Z value in negative, in this way this process is spontaneous. So first we have to find out the del Z and then write the process is spontaneous or feasible. Check the feasibility. So if the del G is negative, this is feasible. If the del G is positive, this is non-feasible or non-spontaneous. Okay. Next come to question number 2. For the reaction, del H is given 10,000 joule and del S is given minus 33.3 joule Kelvin inverse. At what temperature the reaction will be spontaneous? So look here, in both these cases del H is given here, del H here del H is negative and del S is also negative. Del S is also negative. So if this is negative and this is negative, if both are negative, so you know the equation is del G is equal to del H minus T del S. So temperature is always a positive quantity and del S negative means this total term becomes positive. If this total term becomes positive, then del H is negative. That means the total should be equal to negative if the temperature is less. If the temperature is less. Okay, so for that first we have to find out what is the temperature at equilibrium. So for to find out the temperature at equilibrium, so first keep in mind the temperature should be less, temperature should be low. Temperature should be low. First, you have to think this. So given will be spontaneous. For the spontaneous, the temperature should be low. So first, let us find out at what temperature it should be in equilibrium. If the from this equilibrium temperature, if the temperature is less, then this is spontaneous. If the temperature is more, then this is non-spontaneous. Okay. So first, you have to find out what is the equilibrium condition. What is the temperature at equilibrium for the achieving the equilibrium condition? What is the temperature? So find out temperature. Find out temperature at equilibrium condition. For equilibrium condition. For equilibrium condition. Then if the temperature is less, then that is should be spontaneous. Temperature is more, then that is reverse, or that will become non-spontaneous. So to find out the equilibrium, what is the condition for equilibrium? So for equilibrium, del G must be 0. So if del G is equal to 0, then this equation becomes, so at equilibrium, del H that should be equal to 2T del S, or T is equal to del H by del S. So given del H 10,000 divided by 10,000 joule and 30 minus 33.3 joule Kelvin. So in this way, this value divide and you will find 300.3 Kelvin. Just divide it, you will find 300.3 Kelvin. So this at this temperature, this will be in equilibrium. If the temperature is less, then this is spontaneous. So temperature less than at temperature less than 300.3 Kelvin, because it requires low temperature, the process is spontaneous. The process is spontaneous. Similarly, at temperature more than 300.3 Kelvin, the process is reversed. That is, that will become non-spontaneous. Okay. So note down this. Next, come to question number 1. Question number 1 is slightly tricky. So for that, you have to know what is the logarithm value and anti-logarithm value. So you have to know what is your logarithm terms. I think all you know in your previous classes what is the logarithm system, how to calculate the log and the anti-log. So it is necessary to know the log and anti-log values to find out the log. Otherwise, you can use calculator also. By using calculator also, you can find out the log and anti-log, and you can solve this type of problem. For a reversible reaction taking place at 127 degrees Celsius and 1 atmospheric pressure, del G naught is 23 kilojoule mole inverse. For forward reaction, calculate the value of equilibrium constant for this reaction. We have given you one equation. What is the relationship between the standard free energy change and equilibrium constant? So, and at 1 atmospheric pressure, so del G naught is given. The relation is del G naught is equal to minus 2.303 log, active log minus 2.303 R T log Kc. So equilibrium constant for this is given. Okay, minus 2.303 RT log Kc, and this is the energy term and given in kilojoule. Either you put that kilojoule in joule or R term is also in joule. Okay, so log Kc is equal to minus del G naught by 2.303 RT, that is equal to minus del G value 23,000 divided by R value 8.314, 2.303, 8.314 joule Kelvin inverse mole inverse into temperature is given 127. T is equal to plus 273, that is 400 Kelvin into 400 Kelvin. So in this way you can find out this value is equal to del G naught and this. So 23,000, 2.8.314. Just to find out what is this value, and we will find out this value is minus 3.0683, or that is equal to, so add 1 and subtract from it 1. So addition of 1 and subtraction of minus 1, so that it gives rise to 4 bar 9317 from. So minus 3.0683 is represented as 4 bar 9317. Okay, and take the, what is the Kc? Now Kc is equal to anti-log of 4 bar 9317, and that is equal to 8.545 into 10 to the power minus 4. What is the bar? That is the power, and 9317 further to find out this is 8.545 into 10 to the power minus 4. So the Kc value is this much. Okay. So you have to go through what is log and anti-log value, so that this type of equation may become easier. So for today, up to this, then we will discuss the next chapter. Okay.